Hello and welcome to Around the Hoop, the Westwood Basketball Show. I'm your host, Mike Gay. We try to bring all things basketball every week during the regular season, and I'm very happy to be joined by Coach Clifford. Cliff, we sat here 1 week ago today the 17th of February. 1 week ago, you were 9-5 as a team. You had 4 games in the next 7 nights. So let's rewind. How'd you do against Holliston last Friday night?
Yeah, it feels like it's been a month since we've been here. Friday night we were here. We went to Holliston. We had just beat the night before. We had sort of a unique back-to-back with them, just with a makeup game. And we beat Holliston. We get off to a really good start. Katie Kissel was awesome in the first half, and just, we opened things up. We let them back in the game a little bit in the second, but we were able to hang on and win by double digits, which was great. And then we had the weekend to just sort of, recuperate a little bit. And we had 3 more games this week. So Monday we hosted Ashland in another makeup game from the, ice storm a couple weeks back. We didn't get off to a great start, but in the third quarter, put up 19 points and played really good defense and just sort of put the game away, which was great to be able to do. I'd love to do that in the first quarter, but we played a really good third quarter, which was good. Quick turnaround for Hopkinton. It was our senior night, which was really special. But it's an emotional night, and there's a lot of kind of extracurriculars going on, which we love, but we want to make sure the team is focused for a big game against an opponent that we had only beat by 1. Only a week and a half before that. So similar game. It was really close at halftime, and then our third quarter again for the second night in a row. I think we scored 20 in just that frame in that game, and we just had a really really good night on senior night. Ava Connaughton had a career high night, and Ariana Katzman was great. Nikki Drager, I think, had 10 points as well. But it's just, this team is just, they're playing as a team. It's different people on different nights, and our defense is kind of locked in. And it's, I'm sure I said in an earlier episode, we want to peak in February, and I think we're doing that, and hopefully we can keep climbing a little bit. But it's been really good. And then last night we hosted Bridgewater Raynham. It was the postponed championship game of the Mansfield Hearts for Hope tournament. So it was supposed to happen December 30th. We did it last night. We got a bonus home game out of it. So Bridgewater Raynham came to us, which was great. And we got the win over a team that, is really strong. They're ranked, I think, like 12 in the Globe and 13 in the Herald or somewhere in there. Always a strong Division I team. And again, defense wins holiday tournament championships. Is that the saying? And we were just locked in the entire night. We held them to 30 points. Our offense was, came in streaks, kind of like it always does, but we just, had a great team performance. Haley Jacobson had 11 points. Ava was in double digits again with 10. We got great defense from Olivia Williams on a really strong player, and a lot of help behind her. It's not a one-person job for sure, but it was just a really nice win. I'm just really happy for the girls to go in 12 days and play 7 games and be 6-1. Just kind of feels a little bit like a blur, but it was a lot of fun. So we're definitely happy to have today off and just kind of breathe a little bit. But it's a really good stretch, and they're playing really well.
So you went from 9-5 1 week ago to 13-5.
Yeah.
You punched during that time. You punched your tournament ticket.
Exactly.
And you've continued to build on the resume, and hopefully again get that home game, which was a goal that we talked about last week. And then again, not only a home game, potentially even pushing yourself further, maybe getting a couple of home games.
Right. So yeah, the rankings just came out yesterday, and I think this will be the last release before the formal brackets are announced, which should be Saturday the 26th, as the MIA is planning as of now. We're actually 8th. We jumped from 13 to 8th from last week with those 4 wins in that time. So, that would be great. Top 8 would be 2 home games. Obviously, you have to take care of business on the first one, but it would just be awesome. We had a pretty good crowd last night, and I think they had fun, and I hope they're back. And, we'd love to just have a home playoff game. It would be our first one since 2017. It's been a couple years of our youth players not having as many opportunities to get out and see us, and just love an opportunity to hopefully pack that gym and just be a great night of basketball. So we're hoping to hold on for that.
So one of the things that you mentioned in peaking in February as the goal, and obviously late February into March. Defense has been, the thumbprint of this team from the beginning of the season. You've
absolutely
had good defense all the way through. What is the team doing differently now to lock down, to play even better defense? Is it awareness? Is it communication? Can you put your finger on one thing?
Yeah, I think trust is probably the word, and that's actually coming from the players. Like we talk a lot openly about what's going well, and I think that's it. I think they just trust each other. They know they can be a little more aggressive because they know the person behind them is going to be in the right position, and you get some more experience in some of the defenses that we run. We put in a new press about halfway through the season. We've been playing a little bit more zone, or at least just switching it up on people to look at that, and we're getting people in the right position. So I think trust is probably the biggest thing. Communication has definitely improved. I am not yet satisfied in communication, so we will continue to push that, and I think the girls agree. But that's gotten a lot better, which has been great. So I think that's the number one thing. And then offensively, our group confidence is contagious, is what I keep saying, and right now it's up. We're not, hanging 70 points on people, but people are making like huge plays, and just, we need a bucket. Remember, we were at Hopkinton and we, blew our lead, and they were up 1, and just like Ava comes down and drives to the basket and scores. And last night we had, several plays, but, Ariana Katzman came off a ball screen and just absolutely drilled a 3, and to see the confidence there, I think it inspires teammates. And then, Haley hit a big 3 to kind of seal the win and put them away. So it's the confidence is contagious, and right now it's high, so that's going well for us.
Let's circle back to the Ashland game, senior night.
Hopkinton,
right? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, Tuesday.
Hopkinton.
Nope, I get them confused.
You told me that literally 3 minutes ago.
7 games in 12 days.
So you're playing the senior night. Obviously, it's an emotional day for all the seniors, their parents, their families that come to support them, their friends. Talk about what that means to you as a coach, though, the emotion that you go through as a coach leading up to it. It's coming, and then that night is there.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, obviously you want to be really focused on the basketball, but it is a night about those 3. In this case, this year for us, it's 3 kids. And I think our underclassmen did a really good job with sort of the behind the scenes, preparations for them, and just did a really nice job honoring them. We have a couple surprises we throw at them and things like that. But it definitely is emotional. You start to think about this group's not here next year. And thankfully we have a lot more time together, and we're all going to work really hard to extend that and extend their careers as long as we can. But it's definitely an emotional night, but it's just fun to watch them be celebrated, and kind of, we're not a team that no one really wants the spotlight, but on that night, it's just, that's where it is and that's where it should be, and so it was a really nice night.
That's great. Before you introduce the players of the week, and there's 2 tonight, which is great, you're also going to give an update for the boys. So we unfortunately are dealing with schedules and craziness of practice. This day, the boys are not playing. They've got a 3 o'clock practice. So Coach Douglas isn't here.
Yep.
You've been doing your homework. Give us an update on the boys' side over the last week.
Yeah, they played Tuesday and Wednesday. Well, they won at Holliston Friday, so that would have been the last time we were here. They had a nice win at Hopkinton on Tuesday. I didn't see any of it because we were playing too, but heard Russell was really good. Just had a strong night and was locked in. A good team win over there, and Hopkinton's always strong, big, physical. I think that was a good win. The next night, unfortunately, they had a letdown against Ashland. Kind of, let Ashland get out to a lead. Kind of fought back and made a comeback, and just kind of ran out of time. And Ashland made a couple plays to seal the win. So I'm not sure they're probably the most excited about that loss, but all you can do is move on from it and on to the next. And we get the Riley Classic coming this weekend. Both the fields on both sides are really strong, so we're looking forward to that.
Awesome. So. The boys also punched their ticket to the state tournament, which is exciting. So they'll be guaranteed at least one, hopefully more playoff games down the line. Final question for you: the Riley Classic. You teased it last week. You talked about what it means to both the boys and the girls, and the great field on both sides. Anything in particular you want people at home to know about the Riley Classic? Any logistics?
Yeah, we can run through the schedule. So on Sunday, the girls' semifinals are first. So at 1 o'clock, Canton and Needham will face off. And then at 3 o'clock, we host Falmouth. And then at 5 and 7 are the boys' semifinals. So at 5 is Zavarian and Belmont. And then the Westwood boys will play Braintree at 7. And then Monday depends on Sunday's results. So it'll go the boys' consolation game, then the girls' consolation game, then the boys' championship, then the girls' championship. So we design it so that hopefully Westwood can have a championship doubleheader. That's the goal. So we're just focused on our first round games and hoping to take care of business. And on our side, hoping to have that 7 o'clock championship game. And we just flip flop those schedules every year, so it's all even. But it works out pretty well. Again, it's just a great weekend. Our parents do a ton of work to prep for it. We're appreciative of that. Appreciative of administration for letting us host this big joint tournament. And just looking forward to it.
Awesome. So why don't you tee up your players of the week? There's 2 girls. One is a repeat, and there's Nikki Drager, first time here.
Yeah, awesome. So 2 seniors are here today. Nikki Drager has been huge for us this year. She is a kind of a lifelong guard that is now acting as our center in a lot of situations, and is just so versatile in that way, and does a lot for us. So we'll take a really tough post matchup. Has been great in our zones, just anticipates the ball really well. I don't have stats back from our BR game last night, but I think her steals and rebounds numbers will both be really impressive. And she, had some points for us and has been, scoring a little more. And again, just working so hard on that inside game because she's not used to it, but is just so coachable and so determined and has been a great teammate for us. So she's been huge for us. So we're excited to have her here. And then Haley Jacobson, who's a senior captain, is back. She's been great. She was named the tournament MVP last night. Ava Connaughton was a tournament all-star. I should mention that too. But Haley is just, I think last time she was here, she used the word presence. Like, she is just a presence on the court. Defensively, we've played a lot of teams where their best player is a wing player. So she's drawn a really tough matchup. She had a really tough one last night. The girl had a pretty quiet night, but just a lockdown defender. It's been great to see her offense, coming together in spurts. She led us with 11 points last night. Just knocking down clutch free throws and just a really competitive kid who's been really great and a good leader and just doing a lot for us. So.
Sounds great. So you've touched on the road ahead. You've got the Riley Classic. Then the results for the state tournament seeding comes out. You'll find out who you're hosting at this point. Again, God willing, you finish strong.
Yeah.
Again, it's been a fun ride here. Look forward to a couple more weeks, and maybe it even goes into a few.
Yeah.
So
we'll take it.
Good luck down the stretch.
Great. Thank you.
Joining us next in studio are the girls' players of the week. Ladies. So we'll start with Haley Jacobson. You have been here once before as one of the senior captains. Just introduce yourself to everybody again.
Hi, I'm Haley Jacobson. I've been on the varsity team since my sophomore year.
Awesome. And Nikki Drager, congratulations. This is your first time in studio.
Yep.
Introduce yourself to the Westwood fans.
Hi, I'm Nikki Drager. It's my first year on the varsity team, my first year here, but I'm excited.
Awesome. So Coach Clifford just teed up a pretty emotional night that you all had earlier this week. What did it mean to you as seniors, and what do you pass down to the players? Again, as two senior leaders, what do you pass down to the younger players, knowing that this night will be theirs in the future?
I would say just don't take any minutes for granted. Every game that you get to play with this program is amazing, and it goes by so quick. So just enjoy it while you have it.
How about you, Nikki?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that there are so many moments off the court that are so special, and I think that we both have taken them for granted for a while, and now we're realizing that each practice, one of our bus rides home, we got a little emotional because that might be our last away game, and we just love spending time with all these girls so much, and I think everyone else should learn to cherish that.
That's awesome. So you've had 4 games in 7 nights. It's been a bit of a blur. I was going to ask Cliff about practice, but I don't know if you had any practices. So talk about that stretch, and there were a number of games even before that made it a very blurry patch. How did you play individually and keep your game elevated at a high level? We'll start with you, Nikki.
Well, I think that I just took kind of one day at a time, each day just focusing on the game we had that night. And I know we were both probably pretty sore throughout, and it was easy to get your mind kind of clouded with if you made any mistakes last night or a big matchup the night after. But I think that I just tried to stay focused on the things that I had planned for the night, and it helped.
Awesome. How about you?
I agree with everything Nikki said on the mental side and physically making sure you're stretching, eating right, drinking a lot of water, and just going from playing a lot of minutes in the game before to being ready for the next game the next day.
Awesome. Did you ever find yourself during that stretch where you lacked some energy and you were had to dig deep, or did you just kind of block that out?
I think as a team, we kind of feed off of each other's energy. So if there's ever a day where, Cliff always says if you just give 100% of whatever percent that you can give that day. So if I can only bring 80% to a game, then I'm going to give all 80%. And I think I always could get to 100 because all my teammates were it's the atmosphere that we create. We're just such an energetic team.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So talk about the goal ahead. So last week, again, we were here. I'm sure you watched the show. Cliff kind of talked about a home game, and your play has now put you in a really good spot for that. And now you're actually down to, you're up to, I should say, the number 8 ranking. How do you set your sights on short-term goals to continue to give it one day at a time, one game at a time, but then also maybe even, achieve beyond what your goals were? Start with you.
Yeah, I think like Nikki said, just taking every game one day at a time, and even practices, giving 100% and just focusing on our next opponent. And it's interesting with the standings are constantly changing, so it's just important to kind of stay locked in and figure out how we can be our best team.
Anything to add?
Yeah, I think it's definitely easy to be carried away by the excitement of having a home game and everyone coming and cheering you on. But I think we all agree that it's really important. Right now we're just focused on beating Falmouth and having a great practice tomorrow and just taking it one day at a time.
That's great. So I'm going to do a similar exercise I did with both the boys and girls last week. If you could describe the type of player you are by your favorite moves on the court, whether offensive or defensive, what would they be? And we'll start with you, Nikki.
So we were talking about this before, and I would say probably either like a backdoor cut or like a really good pick and roll. I just think that sometimes it is really fun to have like a flashy bucket or anything like that, but when something simple works, like that's what makes a team really good. I just really like when things like that work out.
So are you the one passing on the backdoor cut, or are you the one rolling, or are you setting the pick?
I would say definitely setting the pick and rolling normally has been my role this year. And then the backdoor cut, honestly, either way, just gets me really excited. I like both.
Got it. Awesome. Same question to you.
Yeah, I look to more of the defensive side of things. You know, like Cliff said, I've had a couple tough matchups this year, and just trying to, get those steals and deflections that are often overlooked, but kind of get our offense going, and just using my defense to kind of generate my game on offense.
So do you overplay strong hand, or do you rely on quickness to overcompensate and create a false sense of security, and then they go and you take?
I think it depends on who I'm guarding, do a little bit of both and try to read them as the game goes on. But yeah, just kind of adapting in the moment.
And how do you, again, as two senior leaders, how do you take the things that you love to do and the simplicity of again, setting the nice pick and rolling, the backdoor cuts in your game? How do you try to get others to embrace that? And the same question to you on the defensive side, your intensity and how you love to be a defender, how does that feed into other players? Start with you.
I think, like I said, defense generates offense, and our bench goes crazy with any steal or deflection we get, and just using that to kind of push us through. And I think it gets, all across the board, any steals we get by anyone just really motivates us. And we always talk about pulse plays, and it really gets our heart rates up, and I think it really pushes us forward on the offensive side too.
Do you work with any of the underclassmen on defense outside of practices? Do you share the nuggets? Again, when you say that it depends on who I'm playing, whether I'm going to play strong hand defense a little bit more, or sag, or do things like that. Are you sharing some of those things with the other players?
Yeah, definitely. If I have a matchup, like for example, if I know she's a lefty, we'll say, okay, and me and whoever else is guarding her, let's force her right, and just kind of those little things that you learn as you grow and you go through the program. Being here for 4 years, I kind of learned it. So passing that on to the underclassmen is definitely something I take pride in.
Awesome. And then Nikki, on your side, again, the intelligence of simplicity and taking the cut when it's there, setting the pick, setting the screen, but also looking for the backdoor cut. Are you communicating, and are you trying to pass that on to other players? Because one player alone can't achieve those things, right? Yeah. It's always two.
Yeah, I think definitely. I know all the posts, we're really working on getting our screens better and hitting them, because that's very crucial in a lot of our plays. And so I know when any one of us sets a good one, we're all kind of rooting cheering each other on, which is exciting. And then for the backdoor cuts, even this last game, I know Lil ran a really good cut, and I saw her slightly too late when she stopped looking, but we talked about that after. And I think a lot of the guards too, we do communicate with them saying, you cut here and we'll be able to pass it to you, and same thing with the post, when they drive in, cutting through the middle. I think that really does hype everyone up, and the underclassmen really get into it. Final
question. Cliff said if she could look back at the peak of the team and playing really well right now, if there was one word to describe what is creating that momentum, it would be trust. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you, trust? And do you agree, is that something that you're really seeing more now than you saw earlier in the season?
Definitely. I think our trust has grown so much, and that's kind of brought on a lot of other things. Just communication has been better. We're still trying to work on that, like Cliff said, but communication, confidence, like she said, it's just trust kind of fosters everything else that leads to winning games, and I think that's why we had such a great stretch in the last few weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I would say the reason that our defense is working really well is almost entirely trust. Even in our press, we're more confident going to traps because we trust that someone behind us will be able to recover if we make a mistake. And same thing we play a lot of good shooters. I know originally we were a little timid to go all the way out and put our hands up just in case they went by us, but now we know that even if they do, there's going to be great help there. We all trust Olivia Williams will be in the post and just block it. Mm-hmm. And I think that really just has helped us become a team you don't want to keep playing against defensively.
That's great. Well, the performances have resulted in some of the best defensive showings this team has done and has put forth in years, holding really good offensive teams to 30 points in the 30s multiple times. So keep it up, keep the intensity up, keep looking for the simplicity in the game. It will be there. You just have to have patience. So congratulations on the success. Congratulations to both of you for being Player of the Week. We hope to see you again, although there may only be a couple, 2 or 3 of these left. So finish really, really strong, and all of Westwood is behind you.
Thank you so
Great,
much.
thank you.
So well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Around the Hoop. It's been a great week for both the boys and the girls teams, both of them punching their ticket to the playoffs. Please go out and support both the boys and the girls at the Riley Classic this coming weekend, and enjoy a great run by both the boys and the girls. And for the seniors on both sides, there's only a few games left, so please support both teams as they make deep runs into the playoffs. I want to thank the Westwood Media Center staff, Melinda Garfield, the executive director, Connor Lynch, and Dan Coughlin. Without them, I'd just be in a room without a camera, without any lights, and that would be very boring. We will try to be back next week, next Friday, before the playoffs start. The girls and the boys will be on a vacation week, so I'm not sure we'll have the players in studio, but hopefully both coaches will be able to join us. Thank you again for supporting Westwood Media Center and the basketball programs here in Westwood. I'm Mike Gay, and we'll see you next week.